and welcome to the Red Menace podcast. We do comedy news stuff from the very warm country of Australia and the also warm country of Indonesia, or so I've heard.
It is quite warm. It's quite warm.
My name is Christopher Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare.
So the big news this week has been that we did a big protest yesterday about climate change.
Yeah, it looked quite large. I
say yesterday, you'll be hearing this on Monday, so we did a big protest 3 days ago about climate change.
On Friday, yes. For those of you who are listening to this, 3 days
Alison,
after it's uploaded. And
this episode will be deleted at the end of Monday. It will never be. This is a limited time
a special limited time thing, just so we don't have to explain the days and the time situation.
Time is a flat circle.
Do you know, as soon as we started recording, all of the motorcycles in the world decided to go past. So that's going to be a fun audio experience for our listeners.
I did notice that. I feel like Jakarta hates me specifically.
Yeah.
Well, because they keep doing this fun thing where they're like, hey, Chris, we're going to drive motorcycles past while Alison's talking, so you cannot remove them.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? If it comes, while I'm having a little break of chit-chatting, great.
That's fine. But if it's when you're talking, no thank you.
Yeah, and they all decide to go by. They're like, okay, just wait. She's talking now. Let's go. Let's drive. I'm like, where are you going, boys? It's Saturday at 8:30. Just have a rest. Sit down.
The problem is, Alison, they're still partying from the night before. They haven't finished yet.
Do you know the thing here is that, there are bars, but it's not really the place to be for most people. But the coffee shops go off.
Wait, how? Do the people just get really wasted on coffee? How does it work?
Well, a lot of people here don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
I guess mostly for religious reasons. But
Fair.
the people don't get wasted on coffee. People are just naturally quite outgoing and talkative. And then you just pack everyone into Starbucks at 11 p.m. and it's just the place to be. The place to be.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
See, because culturally, Australia, I think, is less outgoing and we're very repressed and we don't like to talk about things ever. So we need to loosen up and also get angry at the same time.
See, here, I walk down the street and maybe it's just because, I'm obviously sticking out as a foreigner. But even when I'm with my local friends, everyone wants to chat to everyone. And people are just sitting on the doorstep. There's always these people that just sit on the doorstep of their house and chat to other people who are also sitting on the doorstep of their house.
Honestly, that just sounds exhausting to me. It
is quite exhausting. It's quite exhausting. And, outside the local mini-mart is also the place to be. There's always,
nice.
A huge group of cool-looking bike dudes. Well, motorcycle dudes.
Oh, okay.
A cool-looking group of motorcycle teens wearing, leather jackets, sitting outside the mini-mart at all times of night. It's very...
Why does the Indonesian cast of Grease outside of the mini-mart?
I don't know.
I think they're just filming an Indonesian remake of Grease, is what it sounds like.
And it's sponsored by that particular chain of mini-marts. So
exactly.
now everyone is...
Fucking capitalism, man. It's gone too far.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because every time I walk past, I feel a little bit intimidated because they look very cool. But also they're hello, missus! Hello, missus! How are you, missus? I'm like, oh.
What you need to do is do the John Travolta Grease Lightning dance back at them. And
I need to do the thing that Kaniki does, where he combs his hair back all the time. I feel like I could be that.
Off.
Yeah, I'm always combing my hair, so I feel like I could be him.
So
let's get back to the protest, shall we?
Yeah, went very well. A metric fuck ton of people came to it. In Sydney, there was something like 100,000 people, which,
that's
to be
a lot
fair,
for Sydney.
And a solid percentage of them were teens, so there was a lot of teen energy concentrated into one place.
That would be a lot of energy in general.
It was more teens than I think I've seen in my entire adult life, and I've got to say, very scary, very spooky to witness.
See, the thing about teens, right, is even when you are a grown adult, you see teens who look like they are very cool and that it's kind of intimidating because you're like, they're going to bully me because I'm not cool.
I was hanging out with... What I love about it, especially, is that it doesn't matter how cool of an adult you are, especially if you're related to one of these teens. You can never be cool in their eyes. Like,
No, exactly.
I was hanging out with some, like, objectively cool people who are, like, you know, they're, like, climate activists, and they go and they, like, harass corporations and governments, and they say all this, like, badass shit that you'd see in Spotlight or whatever. And someone was bragging about, like, one of the dads to, like, their son. So it was like, your dad did this really cool thing. And the son was just like, yeah, good job, Dad, whatever.
Yeah,
it's just like,
it's like you change yourself to a chainsaw and they stop cutting down the trees.
It's just like oh, Dad,
whatever,
you sound like
Dad.
Dad, you sound like such a fucking tryhard. Why don't you just be cool for like a second?
It's like, why? Yeah, you just gotta like stop trying so much, you know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, it's true though. No matter how like objectively cool someone is, if you have a teen in your family, that teen is not going to think you're cool.
Then
all the other friends will think that dad is sick, though.
After we finished doing the protest proper, we went to get lunch and accidentally brought a whole bunch of people with us, a whole bunch of communists with us, and we tried to occupy Market Street, and it went very poorly. Because the police had horses, and it turns out horse beats person.
Horse is quite large compared to a human being.
We were like, we want to be on this road, and then the police were like, we do have horse, though, and horse will move you off the road. And I thought that was very rude of police.
And the horses just saunter towards you, and you're like, oh no. I have like to leave. There's a horse coming.
And functionally, it's no different to if there was, say, a cement mixer coming. It's just this immovable, like,
but
mass.
Unlike a cement mixer, a horse is sentient. So,
yeah.
See, maybe you'd be happy to like bash a cement mixer to pieces with like a sledgehammer, but like you don't do that to a horse.
No, it's the horses. The horsey isn't doing anything wrong. It's just the nasty man on the back of the horsey that's trying to get me off the street.
Even if the horsey is like, it doesn't have a person on it, and it's like coming towards you and charging, you still want to smash a horsey.
The horsey actually whispered in my ear as he pushed me off the road, I'm on your side, but, you know, work is work. So, like... And I was like, all right, yeah, you've got to pay for your oats. I get it. I mean, I judge you a little bit, but, like, I get it, you know?
Oh,
like,
dear.
It's not the horsey didn't sign up for it.
Last year, it was 2 years ago now, when they had the marriage equality rally, I was covering that. So I was like running around doing journalism things. And then I ran into one of the police officers, and it was a dude I went to high school with.
Oh, that's fun.
That was a fun experience. So we're just having a chat for a while. And then I'm like, I guess you've got to do your job now. And he's like, yeah, so you've got to do your job now. I'm like, yeah, I suppose we should both probably do our jobs.
Can love blossom on the battlefield? And then he was like, I guess I've got to do my job now. And he whipped out his baton.
And started, like, beating me.
Yeah.
No. He's a nice guy. He's very good.
I did watch a friend of mine get into a very heated argument with a riot cop, so that was cool.
Well, there you go. No, the guy I went to high school with is the Sydney's, like, LGBT liaison officer.
Oh, well, so that's actually much better.
That's much better than, like,
cop.
A riot guy.
Yeah. If I see someone that has riot cop written on their vest, I'm just like... There's a series of events.
You're a scary boy.
Yeah, there's a series of events that one goes through in life to reach that point, and I don't know if I'm going to be best friends with you. I'm sorry, Mr. Riot Policeman. But anyway, I'm going to stop judging police officers for a bit, because I'm just very upset about this whole horses schmozzle.
You're feeling very intimidated by the horses.
I am, and I want to read you some of the signs that were at this event. So Marianne has helpfully provided a article from Pedestrian that lists some of the very best of the activists' signs.
Well, thank you.
I was holding up one provided to me by our mutual friend Runa, who performed the role of Santa Claus on this podcast. And it was an extremely niche sign that made references to both Norwegian oil exports and Australian like mineral lobbying, and I think it only appealed to Runa personally. But he was very passionate about it.
You're like, oh, great sign, bro, to someone else, and they look at yours and be like, I like yours too.
So my favorite sign that I saw in person was one that a young man was holding up that said, "Don't ruin the planet, it's so sexy." And he was not just holding it up, he was going around excitedly showing it to people. He was like, "Look at my good sign that I made. Do you like it? Do you like it?"
I think it's somewhat, like, from what I've seen, and I'm not, like, judging the teens for, like, you know, copying each other's signs. But when I was looking at some of the compilations of funniest signs, I saw, like, different versions of the same signs quite a bit. And I'm like, this is meme culture in, like, signs.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never seen memes expressed in real life.
Yeah. But
okay,
see, the thing that there was so many of the same genre, like there's so many, like, oh, planet, you're so sexy. I saw about, like, 4 different versions of that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is meme culture in real life.
Well, but that's how memes work, Alison, is there's only ever 6 memes at any given time, and we just kind of, like, shuffle them in and out.
That's
so
true.
There was only 6 options for the teens to make signs of. Like, they were very limited in what they were allowed to do by the culture.
And teens are not like us. Teens are not like us old people who are happy to use, like, ancient memes. They have to be using the cutting-edge, freshest memes.
Well, there were some old people who'd obviously tried to get into the teen spirit of the whole ordeal. So they'd made meme ones, but you could tell that they were old people ones, and it did not smell like teen spirit. It smelled like old spirit because you could
that meme's from 2019. Oh, sorry, that meme's from 2010.
That meme's from but it'll be like that meme's from 2 weeks ago. It's too old, like that kind of thing. Like,
is that how quick the meme turnover is?
That's the speed of meme, Alison. I think the speed of meme is maybe even daily. Honestly, at this stage,
my meme consumption is 99% through Australian journalism / media Twitter, and they hold on to memes for a long time.
That is true.
But it's specific memes for Australian journalism memes.
Well, I think they're cool people, but only to you and me specifically.
Yeah, I don't think other people think they're cool. I don't think other people follow the same, like, people I follow and think, look at how cool this person is. Especially not teens. Teens are probably like, look at this, like, mainstream media grandpa.
Because these peoples are like celebrities to me. Like, I see, like, your BuzzFeed writer or whatever on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my god, that person's so cool.
Yeah, but, you get, like, a blue check mark follow you, and the blue check mark is, like, a journalist from The Guardian with, like, 6 followers, and you're like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Or, like,
Dreams
there'll be
have come true.
some fairly small comedian who I'm like, oh my god, they're so funny. And then one of my friends will be like, oh yeah, I went to school with them. We hang out sometimes. And I'll be like, it ruins the celebrity for me.
It ruins the immersion.
Exactly. But anyway, I'm going to read some of these great signs.
Yeah.
So if I can get my fucking phone to unlock, there we go. So cop the best and spiciest signs from the seriously massive Sydney climate strike, pedestrian.tv, the website that keeps telling me that there are jobs, but I don't get them. So there's like one at the top, and it just says right off the bat, "Did you buy the planet dinner before you fucked it?"
Well, it's a good question.
And so this is a bright yellow sign in black print. The "Did you buy the planet dinner before you?" just the letter U is in like nice cursive, and then "fucked it" is in giant all caps font. And I appreciate that.
Fair enough.
So there's some nice ones. There'll be like "respect your mother," but then "mother" the O will be like the earth.
That's nice. That's cute.
One that I think is fun is that this is written with like a 16-bit font. It says, "It's so bad, even the introverts are here."
I saw that one. That's cute. It's true. Because it takes a lot to get an introvert out of the house with 100,000 other people.
I know. That's like the worst case scenario for them, and yet there they are. There's this one that says, "We're so desperate, we're using Comic Sans." I like a good niche joke. There's one that says, "I like being choked, but not by greenhouse gases." That's a fun little one.
Oh, I hope it was someone of age holding that sign.
I can't see below their hands, but it looks like they have a wedding ring on. So
okay, that's okay.
That person has a fun marriage.
Yeah, well, good luck to them.
There's a nice house with like they've drawn smoke coming out of the windows, and it's all very nice and artsy. My personal favorite one is someone holding up a giant Uno card that says "Oh no" on it.
Simple but effective.
Yeah, I think that's... This one's I don't like, because it says the only melted ice I want is in my rosé, which seems like a very easy way to ruin a rosé to me.
I don't drink alcohol, but I can't imagine, like, having a melted ice in your drink would enhance the flavour.
No. I can see it in the context of, like, if you're like, I'll have a scotch, and I want the scotch to be weak because I can't...
Because
it's too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm so
strong.
proud of myself. I've finally reached the age where I can sip scotch without dry retching, which I think is a serious life achievement. I've become...
At what age does that happen? I guess it's different.
For me, it was 25. I hadn't had scotch in like 2 years, and then I had some, and I was like, oh, I can do this now. I've fucked up my body adequately that this can happen.
I've made myself be able to take this.
There's one that says, save your shit for Engadine Maccas, not our future. I think that's a nice little burn.
I'm not sure how many of our listeners are aware of that meme.
So, am I allowed to describe the backstory of this?
Let's describe this, because I think it is something that has permeated Australian Twitter for quite a while.
So, there is what some would call an urban legend and what some would call an objectively true fact. That our current Prime Minister, Mr. Scott Morrison, the bad man, he had an incident in the past at the Engadine, which is a town, presumably, McDonald's, where he did shit inside of his own pants. And
in the McDonald's.
In the McDonald's. And
after the football grand final or something like that is how the legend goes.
Let's be honest. You're not an adult if you haven't shat yourself in a Macca's. Like, that's just...
Well, I haven't shat myself in a Macca's, Chris, so I'm not sure about you.
Okay, I actually haven't shat myself in a Macca's. But
you're not classifying us as adults in this situation. So
no, I don't think I'm an adult because I have not done
true.
this yet.
I'm definitely not an adult.
Also because I'm very irresponsible. But my point is, though, that I think for the Prime Ministership, I want someone who's like better than us, better than the rest of us.
He should just own it, though.
Yeah,
and be like, so what?
It'd be relatable.
I did it.
Have a really somber press conference and be like, I would like to apologise for my actions.
I would like to apologise for what happened in Engadine Maccas. But firstly, I'd like to make one thing clear. I did poopy in my pants in McDonald's.
I did do a doo-doo in my dungarees in the McDonald's. And
that's the legend. That's the backstory.
Yeah, literally, our Prime Minister shat himself once, and that's the whole thing, and we give him endless shit about it.
So the story goes. Allegedly.
It happened.
Allegedly.
Let me see if there's any... Oh, here's one that's kind of depressing. I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% fucking terrified for our future. One that I saw in person a lot of versions of was Yeet the Heat.
I saw a lot of versions of that too.
I was pretty opposed to that because it was almost always held by an older person who's not allowed to say the word yeet. I'm too old to say the word yeet. So, like, you know?
Yeah, it's the the early 20s trying to be relatable crowd holding that sign.
There's a person holding up a Go Solar sign that is, solar powered. And he's carrying a solar panel on his backpack. That's badass. That's
the coolest thing I saw. I must say, by the way, for those of you who are listening, I'm still in Indonesia. I was just following a lot of streams on Twitter on Friday because I didn't have a lot else to do. But that Go Solar powered sign, that kid won the protest, I think. He's the winner. He gets the grand prize, which is...
Because I was down there in the muck, in the streets, in the fray. And what I really love about this kid is he took what was to me a negative, which was the enormous amount of sunlight beaming down onto us at all times, and my nose is a beetroot now.
Sure.
And he turned it into something positive, and I think that's really cool.
He used it to send his message.
There's someone who says, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your coals. That's pretty fun. That's also the joke. They also,
That's a joke that I can understand. That's a joke that I think is of my generation.
Tried to make that joke at the start of the podcast, so I think that is accurate.
Absolutely.
Let me see. How long is this article? I'm nearly there. I'm nearly down at the bottom. Is there any better ones? There's one that says climate action now, and there's a picture of a globe with the poop emoji on top of it. And that is a good place to end it, I think.
Yeah. Sure.
Do you have a story for me, Alison?
Well, look, this week I kind of didn't have a lot of time to find stories. I've got a couple that are fresh, but I've also got a few like that have kind of been simmering or like sitting around in my email inbox because basically, yeah, they've been marinating in there for a while. Because basically how I archive stories is I email myself the link in the same email thread. So then I've just got all the stories in that email thread. So there's a few that have been in there for a while. So I thought I'll bring up one that has been sitting for a while, but it is an objectively good story. So I think we need to include this in here. This is from the 5th of September, by the way, so it's been in there for a while. We're digging up some old content here.
Some old shit. I love it.
So I'm reading from BuzzFeedNews.com, and this is by Stephanie McNeil, BuzzFeed News reporter. This is BuzzFeed News. I don't know if it's Australia BuzzFeed News. I think it's just BuzzFeed News in general.
Oh, no, they fired everybody. No one works there anymore, so it must be the
That's
American
true.
one.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the headline goes, an Australian cat with penis-shaped markings is up for adoption.
Oh, that's...
Oh, it's... Okay, so let me describe this cat for you.
It's like if you had a birthmark in... It's like people who have birthmarks in the shape of like a boob or something. Like, you know, it is just how it is and there's not a lot you can do about it.
But it's there.
But
well,
it's there.
Unfortunately for this cat, it's right there on his nose. So this cat is a ragdoll cat. He's mostly white.
I mean, the nose is a very good canvas for a dick shape. Like, it really does lend itself to that.
The cat's nose really adds a little bit of extra detail in this this illustration as well.
Oh, I think I know. Yeah, okay. I think I can figure it out just based on that.
So the cat is white. It's got its little grey booties like ragdoll cats do, and its face is mostly grey. But right on its nose, its nose is like a nice kind of tan colour going down to the tip of of what is being illustrated. It becomes like the nose becomes the head is what I'm trying to get to.
The engorged head of the member. Exactly.
And so then the tan shape continues up the cat's nose to its eyes. And then
the eyes on the...
No. Above the eyes, it comes out to make the balls.
Oh, okay, so it actually has balls separate from the eyes. I'd assumed the eyes would be the balls.
No, the eyes are not the balls.
Interesting.
It's got eyes and balls on its face.
Don't we all? What I'm hearing is that the cat has 4 testicles on its face, and I think that's very good.
Look, the cat is very cute, but it does have a dick on its face.
It is a literal dickhead. Like
it is a literal dickhead, yeah.
Yeah.
So it said here, an adorable ragdoll cat named Daisy has gotten some attention online this week because she has a marking on her face that looks like a penis. The mini kitty commune in Sydney, the mini kitty commune, I guess, not commune, took in Daisy and her sister in August after their owner passed away. A spokesperson for the group told BuzzFeed News the owner's family contacted the rescue group to ask if it could take the pair in. The spokesperson said that the 2 cats were taken to the vet and checked out. They noticed Daisy's interesting forehead.
Oh, I love the euphemisms today. He's interesting so well. It's delightful.
Yeah. The spokesperson noted that various jokes came from the vets. Can I just say, why are the vets making rude jokes about this cat's unfortunate facial markings?
Yeah, come on, vets. What's your bedside manner like? Didn't you go to school for this shit?
Yeah, you're supposed to be, like,
professionals.
Yeah, and now you're just sitting there looking at the cat and being like, oh, look at this stupid cat. It's got a dick on its head.
Also, that's our job, vets. Stop stealing our turf.
Vets, you are supposed to be, like, now, it's facial markings. It has a
facial marking that it has been observed by staff does somewhat resemble a phallus, but we will not put that in the notes. It is
we are not going to write that.
A long ovular shape connected to 2 smaller ovular shapes.
Exactly. So it keeps going. It says, this is what the vets have to say. The spokesperson for the mini kitty commune, I should say. I mean, we've had some wacky cats and a goat or two, but this one rocked, the spokesperson said. Since Daisy is a purebred, the spokesperson said the group got many breed hunters inquiring about her once she was posted for adoption. Purebred cats move very quickly for the wrong reasons, and we had a lot of inquiries for her, they said. But there was 2 of them. It was harder to find a home early. So if you adopt the penis cat, you also have to adopt its sister.
And its sister doesn't have a vagina birthmark or anything like that, because that would be just so deliciously perfect, but God would never do something so kind.
Unfortunately not, I don't think. I mean, there's no photos of the sister, so I can't tell you whether or not it does. So maybe it does.
My problem would be that I would rename Daisy Richard. And I know that's an immature joke, but I would 100% do it.
Well, it would take people a moment to realise why the cat was called. The cat also is a girl, by the way, but there's nothing wrong with a girl called Richard.
Yeah, it's 2019.
Nothing wrong with that.
Come on.
Yeah. She could be called nickname Richie.
That's very true. Rick. I like Rick.
Rick, yeah.
Or Chard.
Yeah, or just Itcha.
Okay, yeah, I like Itcha. Itcha's fun.
It's like, hi, the name's Itcha. That's short for Richard.
Why are you named Richard? Look at my face. Oh.
So I'm gonna my official nickname from now on is going to be Eso.
Eso. Okay, I like that.
Like Allison,
my official nickname is going to be. Because if you take all the consonants out of my name, that is what is remaining.
Perfect. Perfect. So there's not a lot to this story.
Or I could go with is, because I think if you say that mumbly enough, it'll sound like my name is Piss, which is all.
Hi, Is, how's it going?
I can't make a piss sound, but just imagine I did that and it was hilarious.
Yeah, well I'm just going to read this last little bit, just because this story does have quite a happy resolution. It said, the spokesperson also had happy news to share. Daisy and her sister are currently doing a trial adoption with a wonderful lady. They said the potential adopter is giving them the right amount of time and focus to make them a family again.
Aww.
However, the spokesperson said the mini kitty commune will not forget Daisy. It is planning on making her one of its mascots in the future. This is the final line.
No such thing as bad press. We haven't got an
appropriate phallic name yet, but we already have a General Mittens and Chairman Meow, so Chief Willy could work, they said.
Oh my God.
Why are you being so rude to the cat?
So mean. This poor adorable dick-headed creature
is getting bullied by the whole internet. Although I'm not sure if they're bullying her or if they're just appreciating her unique facial markings.
I don't know if she can tell the difference. She is a cat.
Well, that's true. If I was a cat, I would not be able to tell if someone was bullying me or appreciating my unique facial markings.
Well, I don't think cats are aware of bullying as a concept. I think cats... to everyone else, a cat is a servant. So if you're bullying a cat, you're just a bad servant.
Well, that's true. That's true. It would just fire you from its servitude.
By leaving and going somewhere else.
Exactly. It would just walk away to another place.
Yeah. Can I bring you a story, please?
Of course.
This one was provided by intern of the show, Marianne. This is also from Pedestrian.television.
Wow.
I wonder if Pedestrian.television works.
I don't know.
I'll find that out. Like, I won't. So, this woman innocently cross-stitching "eat a bag of dicks" on her flight is my forever mood. This is by Lavender Barge. Well,
that's very, relatable.
Flying is a great form of transport, but my God, is it boring. Understandably, most of us pack a hobby in our carry-on to cure that in-flight case of "I'm so bored I could cry." For some of us, it's a book. Others might watch a movie. But for this woman, it's cross-stitching "eat a bag of dicks" on a wall hanging.
I'm just surprised she was allowed to take her needles on a flight.
I know, right? And
I've never been on a flight where I'm allowed to take my needles.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is a deadly weapon that she's using to create this profanity.
And I mean, good on you. That's the only good use of a deadly weapon.
Yeah, I think you can bring a gun on a plane if you can use it to cross-stitch, eat a bag of dicks.
If you can use it to do a nice craft activity.
Exactly. The woman who has gone viral was minding her own business doing her damn needlework when a fellow passenger snapped the pic of her and posted it to Facebook. Which, don't do that, people. I love how this lady...
It's really not nice.
No. I love how this lady is passing the time, the caption read. The photo has amassed a whopping 51,000 likes, 32,000 shares, and 19,000 comments in the Shut the Front Door Facebook page since being posted on September 17. I don't know about you, but I really hate flying, and I believe the concept of air travel should definitely eat a bag of dicks. So with that said, this woman is now my spirit animal. This is a very extra article.
I actually, unpopular opinion, quite like the experience of being on a plane somewhat, but only...
Why?
Because there's like that anticipation of the destination that you're going to.
Oh, see, I get the anticipation of my imminent death is the problem.
Well, that's true. That's also a feeling. But the other thing is, at that point, you're like, well, if my death is coming, there's nothing I can do about it, so I might as well just enjoy this kind of like somewhat shit movie.
I suppose that's fair.
You can just resign yourself, because anything that happens from there on in is out of your control. And so then, just enjoy whatever B-grade movie is
just
on the
sit
flight.
back and watch Godzilla, King of the Strong Boys, and just sort of fall asleep halfway through.
And if you die, you die. That's...
I have done some research the last few times I've been flying, because I get more and more paranoid the older I get, because I have an anxiety disorder. But I've been looking up how to survive falling out of a plane, and you can do it. It's just very tricky, and you need to be real lucky.
There's a lot of steps involved.
Well, no, there's really only one step, which is land on something that will break your fall a little bit. So, trees, sort of good, but can impale you, which is bad.
So you're like at that point, you are not jumping out the plane window, but you're like swimming in the air away from the plane to find like a soft place to land.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to maneuver. Apparently, corrugated iron roofs work very, very well.
Okay, I can see that.
You go straight through it, but it's solid enough that it'll break the fall somewhat. If you land in snow, if you just try and stop, drop, and roll, that's very doable.
On video games when you're falling from a high place and then you're about to hit the ground and you do a 6 somersault.
Yeah, so it's like that.
That works in real life, I guess.
So you basically just 2 seconds from before you hit the ground, you have to be go limp, bitch, and just start rolling from wherever you land.
You have to double press B really quickly, so then you can do a little roll, a tuck and roll.
So water, don't do that one. Water bad, because water has surface tension and you will go burst. You go pop.
But if you throw something first, if you make sure another person breaks the surface tension.
Now, Alison, I don't know if you're familiar with how gravity works, but everything falls at the same speed. So you can't be falling and throw something, as far as I'm aware, due to the maximum speed of falling and have it hit the ground before you. Well, I don't think that's how it works.
If something was falling first. So if you know the plane's about to crash, quickly chuck something out the window.
I like this idea. So you have to have a prepared, just a dart to throw out the window. You then follow the dart down.
A prepared something, maybe just a paperweight in your pocket, and you're about to the plane's crashing, so you throw that paperweight down where you plan to land, so it breaks the surface tension.
Now, the other negative of the water problem is that pretty much no matter what you land on, you're going to break every single bone in your body. You might not die, but you won't be moving very much.
And then if you're not able to swim very well, I think that's a good snack for a shark who's just loitering around.
You don't have bones anymore, you just have jelly. So unfortunately floating is going to be an issue, which is why I again say go for the shitty outhouse, because that's going to break your fall much more effectively.
It is land. It could be straight one of the, a slapstick movie, and you go through the corrugated iron shed roof and then you land right into the pit toilet. And then you're safe, but you're covered in doo-doo, and it's not very ideal.
But again, that's going to break your fall extremely effectively, that viscous sludge.
and
Like-
then because you're a spy or something, to be able to pull off that maneuver, you like climb out of the poo and just strip down, and underneath is another suit that's completely clean. So
Can you-
it's okay.
Can you imagine if you were on your farm and a meteor lands on your outhouse and destroys it, and you walk out to the outhouse and you're like, oh, it's not a meteor, it's a dude. Like, what do you do with that?
And then you're like, that man has seen everything that I consumed for the past 6 months.
That guy's, he has to be killed because he
He
can't.
knows
He's
what I've
not
eaten.
allowed to be free.
Yeah.
The sky failed to kill him, so I must do it instead.
He knows far too much.
Back to the article.
Is there more to this article?
A little bit.
Okay.
One commenter asked the question we're all thinking, by what magic did she get a needle on that plane?
Well, that's exactly what I was asking
Yeah.
earlier. So let's answer this question.
I've personally been stopped in international customs for an undisclosed can of Diet Coke, so who knows how she managed to get a needle on board, but good on her. We stan a crafty queen. This is an impressive article because they've made a lot of content out of honestly very little material.
I honestly feel like that's the entire job at an article, not an article, sorry, at like a place like Pedestrian TV. I feel like your boss comes to you and like, hey, Chris, check out this photo. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
They're
Write
like,
an
"Give me
article on it.
Give me 700 words. And I'll be
And
like,
you're like, that's a lot of words for this photo. Do you want me
Brenda-
to contact this lady? Nah, just get out an article in about 20 minutes, right, before the picture stops being viral.
I'm like, Brenda, you understand that I'm just going to do like a bunch of waffly, memey shit, right? And she's like, yeah, that's our fucking brand, Chris. Get on it.
That's what we
So-
do. Write the bloody article.
I'm going through the rest of it, and it's astonishing how little content there is.
See, I think the thing with these is, I guess, the assumption is that people aren't going to read the whole article. They will open the article, click, and be like, oh, cool photo, and then show their friend, and they share the article and not actually read the content.
I think that... Okay, here's what I want to find out. Because if you're doing a cross-stitch on a plane, I think that there's just... people are going to take photos of you because people are terrible.
Sure.
I would try and get creative with what I cross-stitch. Eat a Bag of Dicks is very good. I would do Look Behind You. I think that's a very good one. Because not only does the person taking the photo get a nice fright, everyone who looks at the photo gets a nice fright as well.
Absolutely. That's a nice spooky thing to do. And it's coming up to Halloween next month. So that's quite good spooky content.
I would also write, my name is Anastasia Romanov. Which
Or you could just ominously write, please help me.
For a while, that was my Twitter bio. My Tinder bio was my name is Anastasia Romanov. And I've got to say, did not land with many people. Not a lot of people got that joke, which is heartbreaking to me.
That's a shame.
I want to be a long-lost Russian princess. Is that so much to ask?
No, it's not. It's not.
Anyway,
You
do you
can
have
be. You can be my long-lost Russian princess.
Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever
No
said to me.
worries.
Do you have another story for me, please?
Yeah, I've got another couple of stories. Look, this is another one that I've been sitting on for a while. It's not actually that much, so I'm not going to go into too much detail in this story.
Okay.
But look, this story, I opened it up and I'm like, this kind of reminds me why I love local news outlets.
Okay.
Because this is an investigative piece over something that's really important to the city of Dubbo. I mean,
I love Dubbo.
The city of Dubbo is a strong way to phrase it. But
That is, I wouldn't use that terminology.
and this is from the 11th of September, and this is an explainer article from the Daily Liberal by Ryan Young.
Published on 9/11. Super cool.
On 9/11, so you know it's really important content.
Yep.
The article is, Why Sprinklers Came On During a Dubbo Footy Final.
Oh my god. Okay.
So this is an investigative explainer piece to explain why the sprinklers came on during the football final.
This is some really high stakes journalism, and
This
I love
is
it.
This is almost as high stakes as that one article that we did really early on about like the dog poo on the oval that was like under investigation in parks.
That was serious shit, though, Alison. Literally, because people were getting it on their shoes, and that's the danger to public health.
Well, that was
So-
true. It was on their shoes. There's not really anything to this article. This article is about 200 words. Because
Okay.
basically, Mr. Ryan Young has done the journalism here to discover why the sprinklers came on. Let me just read the whole article because there's
Sure.
nothing to it.
Shoot.
It says, a women's league tag grand final match had to be suspended for about 10 minutes on Sunday because someone accessed an unlocked box and turned the Apex Oval sprinklers on, Dubbo Regional Council has confirmed.
That's actually kind of a funny prank. I kind of like that, actually.
Turning the sprinklers on. Yeah, it's a harmless prank.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Dubbo and you're in drought and there's not much water.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's terrorism shit.
Yeah. Council staff had to ask an electrician to turn off an irrigation pump so the game could continue. Staff found that the box housing the manual lever for the sprinkling system had been opened and the handle was manually turned during the game. Council's Chief Executive Officer, Michael McMahon, told the Daily Liberal. The police were contacted in relation to this matter, but as the housing had been opened with a designated key, there is no crime to investigate, he said.
Okay, so it's not breaking and entering if you have the key. Interesting.
So basically, a staff member who had the key opened and turned the sprinklers on, and that's why the sprinklers came on, I assume.
Okay, I had thought someone had done this as a fun prank on the big game. They'd wanted this, what was it, women's tag football or something like that. They wanted to they have a philosophical opposition. They're a men's rights activist, and they have a philosophical opposition to this
atrocity that was happening on the field.
This wonderful lady sport. So they decided to get them all nice and damp.
Wet.
I was trying to avoid saying wet.
Well, it's water on the body. It makes people wet.
Okay, fine. Made them all nice and wet, and that was
all nice and moist. Their shirts were very moist.
I'm going to stop with this.
Well, actually, it doesn't even say how this happened. Which is, I was reading this article.
So the journalist hasn't even done his fucking job.
Yeah, this is the last sentence. It goes, to avoid this happening in the future, council are replacing the padlock to this housing with a separate key to the rest of the amenities sporting clubs can access. This is an unfortunate incident that, through some minor changes to locking systems, will not happen in the future. Like, I was hoping some investigation as to who was behind this heinous crime, or, there wasn't.
Do you think that the journalist actually did find out, but it was too deep and dark a secret, and it was going to unearth,
do you know what? The journalist wrote it in his article. Ryan Young wrote the culprit in there. He found out, he dug some dirt. This article was originally 2,000-word expose on the council and the corruption and the water wastage on the Oval. And then the editor cut everything.
Because the council has fucking dirt on the editor. They all go to the editors. They all go to the editor's swingers parties together, and they've seen some shit there that the editor is, because he's a nut. Yeah. That editor. No, I don't mean to judge, but he's a nasty boy. The
only reason the council holds this swingers party is so they can get dirt on the editor, or that's what they tell. That's what they tell their respective partners. They're like, look, we need to have the swingers party so we can get dirt on the editor of the Daily Liberal.
I think it's also like a Hunger Games-esque competitive swingers party where 10 people go in, only 9 come out. One person is not going to leave that swingers party alive, and the editor is very good at it. So he has killed a lot of his fellow swingers over the years. Sure,
and so now his journalists can't write exposés on how the sprinklers came on during the football match and expose the deep conspiracy, the deep state that's behind that,
Yeah, they know where the bodies are literally buried.
The deep council.
The deep council. The deep local government. It's like, who are you? Dear. I'm the man behind the man behind the man. I'm the deep mayor. I really want a movie now about it's kind of like a mockumentary kind of movie about the deep state, but it's at a local council level. Well, I mean, that's basically what that article that I wrote with Runa back in the day about that golf course shit was. That's...
Oh no, deep council.
Yeah, Deep Council. If anyone's interested, Google Rockdale Council Golf Course Chris Bolson, and you'll find an interesting article about corruption that none of them admitted to, obviously.
And there were frogs involved.
There were
as far
frogs
as
involved. I visited a swamp. It was very exciting.
You climbed over a fence?
Climbed over a fence, broke into a golf course. Whoops, don't tell anyone about that. We went to a swamp with myself, Runa, and Runa's wonderful girlfriend, Bryn, and we had a guide there. And Runa and I were the ones doing research, and the guide spent the entire time talking to Bryn because he found her much more interesting than he found me or Runa, which is, I mean, is honestly fair.
It's fair enough.
It's honestly
a very interesting lady.
I get it, but it was still hurtful.
It's like, sorry, if I may ask hang on, I'm speaking with the lady.
I'm speaking with this much cooler person than either of you.
With this very cool chick.
Can I provide one final story?
Yeah, sure.
So this one's a couple weeks old. I just haven't been able to slot it in. This is provided by
This is like the shit recycling week. Hey.
Yeah, this is called Neither of Us Have Done Any Work This Week. So
well, see, here's what it really is. Both of us were in the spirit of the, climate strike, and so both of us were like, look, we can't be creating new stuff all the time. We've got to recycle.
I support that.
So this is.
I think that's a good attitude.
Reuse, recycle, bring up old links that we haven't had the time to use yet.
A lot of people are asking us, what are we going to do when we get to a certain episode number? Let's say, hypothetically, if we get to 100, what are we going to do? Are you going to change the show up? No, what we're actually going to do is just reuse every single story from the first episode again.
Yeah, we're just going to go all the way back.
All the way back, and we're never going to find a new story after that.
We're going to make the same jokes. We're going to make the same jokes about those stories.
We are going to re-record it. We're going to transcribe it, and we're going to just re-perform the entire episode.
Exactly. No twists, no turns. Maybe there'll be different background noise. Maybe there'll be some motorcycles.
That's true.
I'm still here at that point.
I like it. It'll just be like traveling, global hopping performance of the same podcast.
Yeah, and at some point, it stops being a podcast and starts being performance art.
Yeah.
And then we can go in maybe we can get displayed in the Museum of Contemporary Art in Sydney.
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that too.
We will both be laminated and put on the wall.
Yeah, look, that part I'm not so into, but,
that's
part of the art piece, it has to be like that.
This is an article provided by Marianne Mazza, my good friend, who... This is a Lab Bible article again, because she reads Lab Bible a lot.
She certainly does.
And I don't know what that says about her.
I don't know what that says about you for being friends with a Lab Bible reader.
She took me on a free Segway ride the other day, Alison. How could I not be friends with her?
Wow.
Right? It was extremely good.
A Segway ride? I've always wanted to go on a Segway.
Well, I didn't have to pay for one, and it was the best shit.
I'm not sure if I want to pay for going on a Segway, so that is very good.
No, it's an extreme... Because I wouldn't do that. Worker documents ongoing rivalry against commuters he races on walk to work.
Okay.
Sometimes we need things to entertain us on our commute to and from work. For many people, that becomes in the form of Bejeweled Blitz or Solitaire, while others may find adding Snapchat effects to newly papped pictures of the poor oblivious souls sat opposite. Adam Woolard, on the other hand, has an ongoing rivalry with seemingly unsuspecting fellow travellers, against whom he faces on his walk to work. In fact, he's been battling with one particularly speedy bloke for an entire year. The 28...
Oh, no. But the thing is, I kind of do that subconsciously.
Oh, yeah,
when
totally.
I was living in Sydney and I was catching the same bus pretty much every day, there were a few other people who were catching my bus who also caught the train from Wynyard, and it was basically like a race to the train station, subconsciously.
Well, this guy's made it conscious.
Okay, well, that's good.
The 28-year-old captured a cheeky viral photo of his fast-paced, worthy adversary, who he would usually leave for dust at around 8:30 a.m. on his way to the office. However, one day, Adam, a freelance scriptwriter, of course he is, lost his edge.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense why he's making viral content out of this, hey?
Yeah. Lost his edge and was pipped to the post by his route-marching rival. This is a very written article.
Lad Bible is very written.
Now, Adam has a new side job working 2 nights a week at a pub. But despite it being only a 5-minute walk, he's discovered a new adversary, a very quick woman on the same route whom he pits himself against.
Very speedy lady.
Another hilarious photo shows the back of the seemingly unaware woman last week as he raced behind her in his bid to overtake. All I'm hearing is this dude takes creepy photos of people on the street from the behind.
Look, I don't know I know the context of this, and I think, okay, that's a little bit funny. But if I was just a lady, well, I am a lady. If I had a man that was constantly, walking behind me really speedily...
I mean, he's going to murder you.
I mean, that's pretty freaky for a lady.
I get it.
Because also, you're walking briskly because you don't want, him to be directly behind you. And then he's speeding up, and then you're speeding up, and then it doesn't seem like you're racing. It seems like you're running away from this guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's really thought through the implications of this.
I don't I don't mean to be, misandrist here, or reverse sexism, or whatever it is. I don't think a lot of the time men think through how women are going to react to these kinds of things.
No. When I'm walking behind a woman
we have a different mentality when these things are happening. We're more alert of the fact that maybe someone's going to murder us.
I always try and keep a respectful distance from women on the street, particularly at night, or I'll cross the street and walk on the other side or something like that. And I'll admit, it's also because I'm worried about, maybe they'll have a shiv that they'll come for me with.
Well, that's true. Maybe they'll turn around and, shiv you.
I'm scared of everyone, but I'm also just trying to be a good feminist.
Ideally, no one would have to do that. But for that to be the case,
and
how about people just stop killing ladies? That's just a simple bit of advice for your life.
This is a job at a pub at night, so this means this is happening in the evening as well, which is much more objectionable.
It's probably quite spooky.
So what's really happening is just that a woman is running away from Adam.
Adam is stalking ladies at nighttime and taking photos of them that they don't know about.
I think Adam's just trying to turn his dark desires into viral content. And whilst I respect the hustle, I think he should try
I very much respect the hustle, but maybe just keep ladies out of it,
Yeah,
Stalk
Adam.
some pigeons or some stray dogs or something like that. Race the pigeons, race the dogs. No worries.
I think Adam just needs to, buy a video game or something. He just, Adam
should develop a video game, Pedestrian Racer. Okay, that's a great game, Adam. That's a free content for you.
Alison, what you're doing is you're encouraging Adam to make Stalking Simulator 2020.
I don't want Stalking Simulator. I want Pedestrian Racer. And the difference between Stalking Simulator and Pedestrian Racer is in Pedestrian Racer, there's no particular person you're racing. You're just racing everyone in general.
Does Pedestrian Racer have the same controls as, Mario Kart, but you're controlling a human body?
Exactly.
So,
you have to hold down A to walk. And see, the thing is...
You have to hold down right to do a drift to go around corners, where your guy will, slide onto his side and just, skid along the concrete.
Exactly. And see, the thing with Pedestrian Racer is it only goes... the top speed is a very brisk walk.
But the turning circles are extremely wide, so you do have to drift
because
around the corner.
You're doing a very brisk walk, and you've got a long stride because you're a business guy,
And we've invested a lot of money into our graphics technology, so the skidding and the skid mark effects on your trousers are extremely realistic, and you will see very realistic scarring from the amount of drifting you do.
Exactly.
So it's the bloodier your legs are by the end of it, the better job you've done of Pedestrian Racer.
And there's all sorts of challenges as well. There's one where your boss is messaging you on WhatsApp and you need to reply to the WhatsApp messages while you're walking briskly. And so that's a fun challenge. So, if you don't reply in time, your boss starts getting angry at you for not replying. But also, you still have to make work on time and race the other pedestrians.
Yeah,
so you get points for each pedestrian that you take over. You get points for each message that you reply to. If you don't reply to the message, you get minus points. And also, the mission is failed if you don't make it to work before 9 o'clock rolls over.
Yeah, and obviously there are like little floating boxes, and if you walk through one of them, you get some sort of power up that you can use to harm your other opponents.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you might get like a bottle of iced coffee that you can spill onto the street, and then someone has to.
Yeah, and maybe the other pedestrians slip over, and it's quite humorous. Or you also can get like a power up, which is one of those moving travelator things.
Yes.
And then that gives you like a bit of extra time, right? Because it gives you a bit of speed.
The
other problem is sometimes it's not a very useful power because another pedestrian will go on there and stand in the middle, and then you get stuck behind them. So that one's a bit of a gamble about whether or not it's going to be it.
The power-up that everyone wants is the one that just creates an instant flash mob behind you. That's like... That's the killer one. That's like whoever's behind you is fucked.
Green crossing man for the crossing lights.
Oh, that's good.
That there's a power up that means all traffic lights will be at green man, because in this game there are like popo at every corner to catch jaywalkers. So you can't you can jaywalk, but you have to think about how much money you have in your inventory and whether you can pay that jaywalking fine.
And obviously we are going to have a microtransaction-based system where you can then purchase more money with real money to put in your inventory so that you can jaywalk faster.
So you can jaywalk without having the green crossing lights or waiting for the green crossing lights.
What we'll actually let you do is we'll just let you input your credit card details directly into the game so that you can just have the money taken straight out of your bank account every time you get fined.
And we can take it when we feel like we want to take it. That will be written into the terms and conditions.
It'll be in very
when
small...
we need a little bit of extra cash to fund our various projects, then we can take your money, and that's okay because you signed the terms and conditions.
You said it was fine. It was written in white text on a white background, but you should have checked. God.
Yeah, you should have read it. You should have highlighted everything and checked that there wasn't any white text. The fact that you didn't and you clicked, I read this and I understood, really, you're the liar.
Yeah, that's
because you didn't read this. So we can take your money as much as we like.
I would play the shit out of this video.
Honestly, if this pedestrian simulator, Pedestrian Racer existed, I would play it.
I'm just here.
It sounds like a great game.
It's just like Meet Mario Kart, and I like that a lot.
And then you're like kind of, you can go off the footpath and onto the road, but you can get hit by cars on the road. And you can die in this game, and that's not ideal. You need to get to work on time.
I was wondering what the episode title was going to be, and Meet Mario Kart is definitely going to be it. So I'm very happy with that.
Well, that's great. Do we know any video game designers? Anyone who's got those skills?
If any listeners can help us make, and by help us I mean entirely make
all of the work. We're the ideas men. We'll sit there and throw ideas at you and be like, oh, can you put this in the game? And you're like, well, the physics. No, put that in.
I'll do the music, but it will just be a techno remix of the music from Mario. No, it'll be a really boring. Wait, no. It'll be the music from Mario Kart, but it'll be through a really tinny, shitty filter that makes it sound like it's coming through your little earbuds.
Oh, yeah. Sound like it's coming from your AirPods.
Yeah,
because you're wearing AirPods. You're a businessman.
Exactly.
But actually, there could be different levels where you are different kinds of jobs. So you're wearing different attire. So maybe in one of them, you're a secretary. So you have to wear high heels. And that adds an extra challenge to the walking.
And you have to wear a pencil skirt. So that gives you much more turning maneuverability, but the actual speed is much lower.
The turning circle is much smaller. But you're only doing really small stride. Exactly. But then in one of them, you're a construction dude, so you've got your toolbox. But the toolbox, everything is falling out onto the street if you walk too quickly. So you need to walk at a high speed, but also if you drop your tools, you need to go pick them up and put them back in your toolbox.
Or you can use the dropped tools as a deterrent to the other people, but you have to have a certain number of tools remaining by the time you get to work so that you can perform your duties.
And you do get a penalty at the end for each tool that you drop.
Yeah, exactly. But you also get a bonus for each person that you drop, so it balances out.
Yeah, well, it does. But the penalty, the fee, it has to be paid in real money, in microtransactions.
And the final boss is Kevin.
Sorry?
It's just a guy named Kevin on the street. He's
just
the final
boss. Just a guy
boss.
named Kevin. And he's quite a brisk walker. And you know Kevin. You know he didn't tap on his Opal card when he got on the bus. So you've got a vendetta against him.
You can tell he's wearing skins under his trousers. You can just tell.
He's walking with confidence that he knows he's not going to get chafing.
Let's finish the podcast.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menacecast, or on Facebook at The Red Menace Podcast. You can find us on our sick merch at tpublic.something. Just Google TeePublic The Red Menace Podcast, and you can get t-shirts, mugs, pins, a tapestry for some reason.
Because that's what everyone wants.
They said, "You've uploaded a design. Do you want a tapestry?" And I said, "That's the easiest question anyone's ever asked me. Of course I want a tapestry.
Do I not want a tapestry?
What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Does anyone answer no to this?
I can't imagine they
tapestry?
do. You can buy a phone case so you can get our faces on your phone. How cool is that?
That's very cool. Now, what types of phone do they have for the phone case, actually? That's something I'm going to check out later. I'll check that out myself.
Alison, you're not allowed to buy a phone case with your own face on it. That's not...
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck.
Ciao for now.
Good luck and good night.